All right, so on the syllabus, written way back at the beginning of the class, I had promised a little preview into recording 2. Now that things have changed a little bit, I know that only 2 or 3 of you are going to go into recording 2, and now that things have changed a little bit and my life got wild, I'm so glad that my really good buddy Morgan Hayner is taking over for recording 2. I hope to be involved with the class in one way or another. But that means I don't exactly know what he's going to teach you, but I do have my syllabi that I have sent him from past years of doing recording 2, and I can give you at least a little preview into some of the concepts that you might be learning, and maybe you can, if Morgan's not teaching you this stuff, maybe you can bring it up. But some of the stuff is more advanced Pro Tools stuff that I usually teach in recording 2. And that includes what's called automation. Automation is an advanced mixing thing that allows you to draw the volume of your track. So let's say I have a vocal track where some parts of the vocal I'm singing really quietly, and then there's this big climactic chorus, and I need to do a big loud belting part of the vocal. Sometimes compression, squishing the sound with compression, just won't cut it with that. Sometimes the loud part is just way, way loud compared to the quiet part. In that case, I would use this thing called automation. And so what you're going to want to do is in your Pro Tools window, on each track in your edit window, on each track you should be able to select a view that allows you it says waveform normally. And you can click that little thing that says waveform and select volume. And all of a sudden this little line will come up, and the line is going to start at 0, and that's your volume. So it's really nice because with the hand tool, you use your smart tool, which is all 3 of those tools together. But if you want to be real precise, you just click the hand tool in the upper part of your edit window. And you can use the hand tool to create little dots on that line, and you put little points, little dots in there, and you can move them around. So let's say I want to really turn down that loud part of the vocal take and make this my bass level as the quiet part of the vocal take. What I can do is right when that loud part happens, I can create a dot, maybe create another dot and another dot. So you've got 3 dots, and you can take that middle one and pull it down. So that way you've got this nice shape, and you can draw a nice shape of when that loud part happens and turn it down. And the nice thing about that is if you have automation on like all of your tracks, this is usually like a final mixing thing. It's so nice because you don't have to sit there and go, oh, this one's too, back in the day they used to have a board and they were doing everything in real time. Oh, right when that loud part happens, you got to turn it down. This is just a really nice way to have all your volumes go up and down on their own. Really fun to watch in your mix window once you have everything automated. You can see the faders going up and down on their own. So ask me questions about that in an email if you're going into recording 2 and you want to know more about automation. Another concept that we work on in recording 2 a lot is working with grid mode more, working with a click track, looping things. One just introductory thing is that when you create a loop, when you cut something rhythmic to the grid in Pro Tools, and then you use that on Windows, whatever it is, D, quick key. On Apple, it's Apple D. You want to duplicate that over and over and over and over. One thing you're always going to want to do is put crossfades on each section between loops, and that's because you don't want it to have this little tick sound that happens when you don't crossfade between your pieces of loop. So that's just a little bit of advice, but feel free to ask me any questions about like working with grid mode and production and looping drums and stuff like that. We get into a lot of other fun stuff in recording 2. When I taught it, I tried to have 3 specific projects. One was a non-musical multi-track, so something like a podcast, that kind of thing. And then one was a musical multi-track, and then final project. I'm not sure what Morgan's going to have you do, but there's some other advanced stuff happening in Pro Tools that you can learn about. And maybe instead of going out in this video, I'll just say, I'm here for you. Ask me any questions this winter via email, via text. If I don't get back to you right away, I'll do my best. But I'd love to keep the learning process going for you folks who are going into recording 2 and just kind of dive into that world. And compression, we talk about compression a lot more in recording 2, understanding what compression is, how to start hearing it, because it's really hard to hear, but you can kind of squish things. And we talk about how you always want to put your EQ plugin before your compressor plugin. That's a tip I just want to give you right now, because if you think about what an EQ is doing, an EQ is either highlighting the frequencies you really like in that particular track, or you're turning down the frequencies that you don't want or that are bothering you in that specific track. So if you think about that, you don't want to then squish, you don't want to squish first and create this great signal and then try to EQ it. What you want to do is you want to put the EQ plugin in your inserts on your mix window. Compressor plugin should always go after it, because that compressor plugin then is going to strengthen the frequencies you do want, and strengthen only the frequencies you do want. And because you've turned certain frequencies down, it's only strengthening those. So you're squishing what you do want. You're creating this nice solid signal using compression on each individual track. And that's a little bit about compression. So again, this is just like preview to stuff that you might be into in recording 2, but more so, this is just a big invitation to reach out to me over winter break before you get started with Morgan. Ask me any questions if you want to kind of get a leg up. And yeah, I really look forward to talking to you all more as you're finishing up your final projects. And I hope you enjoyed these kind of more loose videos where I'm just kind of talking about some fun stuff. And again, just get in touch with me if you want to know more. Have a great one. Good luck on your final projects. Peace.